Hi, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today I'm going to be doing my first book review of 2021, and that is a review of the book After the Rain. Is a adaptation Nnedi Okorafor's On the Road. This is adapted by John Jennings and is um, drawn by David Brame. So I got this as a request from NetGalley. This is actually a book I requested last year. So I'd like to thank NetGalley and the publisher ABRAMS for the chance to review this book. So this is actually the fourth book that I read this year. So I've read like some graphic novels or mangas, so they haven't been heavy reads. I am in the middle of reading an audiobook, about 50% through that. So this actually wasn't that hard of a read. I read it with, in less than an hour, or maybe about an hour or so. So let's go ahead and get into the review. Now, I do want to start by apologizing if you hear some kids in the background. That's because the neighbors next door kids are I guess it's their bedtime and they don't want to go to bed. So sorry about that. But to get into the plot of the book, this book follows Chioma. She's a Nigerian American who is a cop in Chicago. And then she goes back to Nigeria to visit her some relatives. And so the story starts with her being in her relative's home, and it's raining. A young boy knocks on the door, and what she sees scares her. But the boy touches her hand, and after that, basically her life and experience, basically her vacation in Nigeria pretty much takes a turn. And she feels as if she's being hunted or haunted by something. And so throughout the book, throughout the graphic novel, we see Chioma trying to figure out what's going on with her, and whatever's going on with her, she ends up going on this journey into her heritage and learning a lot about not only herself but about the world in which her relatives and those who came before her are very familiar with. But as someone who is not or who has not spent a lot of time or lived there for long in Nigeria, she's not as familiar with. So this book kind of mixes in mythos of from Nigeria into this book, which I thought it did really well. So things that I liked about the book, the one thing that I think that I really enjoyed about the book was the artwork. The artwork was absolutely amazing. I think that David Brame did a really good job in the way that he drew this book. You have really great panels, especially towards the end. You have these really cool two-page panorama kind of scenes of what's going on in the story. I really enjoyed one part that I really liked was that as Chioma is, feeling like there's something out there, something haunting her, he takes the panels of what's happening in the story, and behind that, the background for that is kind of a representation of this thing that's after her. And you don't know what it is. You don't know if it's evil. You don't know if it's like something creepy. You don't know. But I really like that fact because it really emphasizes the fact that there's something after her. There's something creepy going on. And just having that was something I'd never seen before. It even sometimes creeps into the panels of the story, actually. And I really enjoyed that representation of the thing that is after her, whatever it may be. And for the story itself, I thought it was okay. It didn't really move me that much. It was an okay story. Chioma's character arc through this was it was interesting. It was interesting what's happening to her and her experiencing this haunting feeling that she's having, and all the crazy stuff that she goes through. Because for her, seeing the stuff that she goes through mentally, as these things are happening to her, unexplainable things, unnatural things, and she has no explanation for it, and she's like, someone give me answers, and she's not really finding any. So the whole plot was okay, but for me it wasn't top tier great plot. I would like to see what for example what the original story read and how that read, and then compare it to this adaptation. Now for some things that I disliked about the book. this is a graphic novel, and even though it's based on a short story, I felt that especially in the beginning, that it did a lot of telling instead of showing. And well, actually, that was the issue. Like, the artwork, I think, told the story at times just fine, but then the words would basically be repeating what the panels were showing. So for example, there's this section where she gets flung back by, I guess, this force, or whatever, but she gets flung back, and then the words in that are there are describing her, narrating herself being pushed back. And I felt like there was no need for words at that part. Like, the artwork in the panels itself could show that. And I felt that for a lot of this book, it didn't really need words. The panels itself portrayed exactly what all the reader needed to know. Now, there were parts of the book where I felt that where I did feel that the words fit perfectly, but it felt at times too wordy. Like, this is a case where your panels were doing a lot of the work for you, and you didn't need to repeat that with words. Also, I felt that the writing at times were clunky. Like, I think like some of this would have felt better in the short story perhaps, but they felt clunky here. And so, like, and I think as the book goes on, this gets better, but like for like at least the first half of the book and even into the middle, a little past the middle, the wording, the dialogue at times, the inner dialogue, it still kind of felt clunky. So that kind of took away from the experience of the book, because the artwork I thought was really well done, but those two things kind of really tank this the reading experience for me, because like I read a lot of comics and graphic novels, and so I put like I rate like what I consider to be really good. I have a really high standard for, even higher I think than like books. I think I rate comics harder than I would books. So reading that and seeing that, where like, you know, the images of the panels could tell the story a lot better than the words, and also having like kind of that clunky dialogue or clunky narration of the story, it just for unfortunately kind of killed the whole reading experience for me. So for me, the big thing for me for this book was that the artwork was great. I felt that the illustrator did a really good job at bringing out the characters and what was going on in the panels. So you as the reader could get, you could really pick up from the panels and what was going on with the characters, just from the panels themselves. And I think for that clash with the amount of words that were used sometimes to describe what was going on in those panels, where I felt that those panels on its own the story could just have written on that with minimal words, but with minimal words, and just letting the illustrations themselves tell the story. And that for me, and I mean that does happen in graphic novels. You have that, but it has to be like a balance. And for this one, in the beginning, like I said, it felt like it was too much. It was more of them telling me what was in the panel rather than letting the panels tell me the story. So combine that with the fact that the plot was, for me, was just okay, I'm gonna have to give this like a 2.5 stars out 2.5 out of 5 stars. I don't think that is a terrible book, but like I said, like I rate like graphic novels and comics harsher than I do like actual books. So for me, this was just but artwork wise, illustrator, absolutely great. So that's going to be it for me for this video. If you guys have read works by Nnedi Okorafor, let me know down in the comment section below. I read the Benti trilogy. I really liked the first one in that trilogy. The other two were okay. So let me know what you thought about, what you think about other works by Nnedi Okorafor. I want to read her Nation comic book series called The Guardia, or a graphic novel. I'm not sure which one it was, but I want to read that one day, and perhaps will once I get the unread books on my list down to a more manageable number. So that's going to be it for me. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at GhostReads28, on Instagram at Justin the Ghost Reader, and on Goodreads. The link to that's down in the description box below. So as always, keep reading, and Black Lives Matter.